Good day. Today it's time for part 4 of the Protracker tutorial, and today we're gonna talk about samples. I'm just gonna touch it because there is an in-depth video by Wasp Amiga. It's called Protracker Tutorial Samples on Amiga. It's relatively new and it's very detailed, so that is an add-on for that. His video is an add-on for my very basic stuff that I'm gonna show you. You can find the video there. So let's get straight into it. As I already mentioned, ripping samples from an existing song is the easiest way to start off. I just loaded the tutorial song we left in the last tutorial. Let's play it. So there are obviously samples in it. You remember, here is the sample ID. Let's go to the bass. We have the bass here. If you want to rip it, I showed it in another video, you should go back then. You go to disk operation, you go to sample. That's the sample row. And then you select the directory and you give the sample a name, PACiF, for example, and then you go save sample. You're sure? Status save sample, you say yes, and you have your sample saved, so you can load it in an empty song. Now let's go to the sampler tab here and let's talk some basic stuff. What you can see here is a representation of the waveform. I'm gonna press the letter R, as you remember the root key, so it plays in the original speed. And you can see how the sample is visually there on your screen. The height of this tells you how loud the sample is. So if the sample would be just a little bit of that, it's a very quiet sample. And if it goes all the way to here and down here all the time, most of the time, it's a very loud sample. Now let's go to the basic things here you can do in this section. Play, waveform, just plays the sample. It's the same thing like pressing R, the root key. Then you have play display. Gonna show you that next, but first we're gonna play range. A range is a selection that you do. You can select a part of the sample, and then you do play range, and it just plays the range. Now with this range, I can say, oh, I want to inspect the beginning. So I just mark the first wave here. And then I go to show range, which is in the next column. And now only the marked spot is on the display. So if I press play display, now it's just going to play the display, not the whole sample like that. All right, that's the other function that I wanted to come back to. Now, we have show range, we zoomed in. If we want to zoom out again, we go to zoom out. And that goes in steps. Let's do it again. Marker spot, show the range, and you can slowly zoom out. If you want to show it all again instantly, we go to show range, and then we go to show all, and it jumps back to the overview. So that's the whole block here. Now, range all, simple as it says, it's just ranging it all. So you don't have to go for this because you will not get the edges sometimes. You have to start in the edge here to do it. So range all is this function. Let's see, what else do we have here? These here are just little helpers. If you press back, the cursor jumps to the beginning, end, it jumps to the end. Center, it shows you the middle of the sample. That's what's here in that row. Next point is, of course, cut, which I showed before. If you want to make the sample a little bit shorter or something, you go here, mark the piece you want to cut out, and you cut. It's now, I think it's in memory. So if I go to paste, it is there again. Yeah, you saw it? So if you cut something, it's in memory, but it's out of the sample. If you play the waveform now, it's shortened. So cut is the same like in Windows. Copy, same stuff without cutting it. You just copy to memory. If you just want a little piece of it, let's say you want that here, copy that, and you paste it like here. You go like this. It's very, very useless now because it sounds shit. It's just for demonstration, so you can copy areas of the sample. Let's kill this beginning here. So we have a normal sample again. Now you can see the sample is not beginning at the 0 line. Just imagine that as the 0 line. Won't go into details for that. And it doesn't end there. If it doesn't start or end there, you get like little clicks on the beginning and in the end. We're gonna fix this now. So I just want to see exactly the beginning. So I mark this, I go to show range, and then I select like a little bit of it here, either that or that. And then I'm gonna tell the software something which you're gonna do very often. So a very important function in this section is volume. And this works the following. From is at the start of your marked range, 2 is the end. So I can go 0 in the beginning, and I want to end it here with 100%, with the normal loudness. So you just click ramp. And you can see it starts smooth here and goes to the 0 point again. On the end of the sample, same thing. I'm gonna show all. Just gonna select the last wave, the last sign here. Show the range. And then I look for a point on the 0 line. And I want to come down to the 0 line again. So I go to volume from 100, because here it should be the same as it is at the moment. And in the end I want 0. I click to ramp, and now it fades out very nicely. If we take a look at the whole sample, it shouldn't click in the beginning and in the end. Yeah, that's fine. That's that. So volume is not just for adjusting the volume, it's for doing ramps. This is the standard you will find here, 100, 100. If you click ramp, then nothing will happen. If you want to make the whole sample louder, you mark all, you go to volume, you give it like 20% in the beginning and in the end. So it's evenly 120%. Ramp it, and now the sample is louder. You should always watch out that the sample is loud when you pull it in, because making it loud in Protracker, it's just set the new way now. Making it loud in this software will make it sound crap. So loud samples are good for this. Show all, now it's louder. Let's do it even more louder. Range all, volume, give it another 120. Now you can see it reaches the bottom. Now it's gonna start to distort. You have to try around and check it, but now it's a loud bass. Same goes, of course, for making it more quiet. Volume, you go like 50% in the beginning and in the end. Ramp, and now it's half of the volume. All right, so you can use this tool for making fade in, fade out, as you saw here, with the start and the end point. You can even click these little symbols here, which make exactly that, what I've shown you manually. So from 100 to 0, or from 0 to 100, or doing nothing, and you can just adjust it. Cancel as aborting the situation. Okay, important. Next one. For this example, I uploaded a break beat, a very known one. And now we do all the things that we learned. I just want to have the snare drum here. And you can see boom, boom, chuck. You can hear it and you can see it where the snare drum is. It's here. All right. So I'm going to try to isolate that. My technique is to zoom in like that here. Show range. Then I'm going to kill very carefully like this. Cut. Then I'm going to zoom in again. So I can exactly see when the snare starts. So I can cut off this from here. Cut. And show all. And we have the snare drum here. But we have to get rid of the rest. Now I check where the next percussion is coming. It seems like this is a height or right. Yeah, so we mark it from here and just cut. And then we go into the details. Show range. Carefully cut it here. Then show this range, because you can see here, there's a start point of it. Show range. And it should be fine here on the 0 line. Cut. Show all. And now we just have the snare drum. We could do that with the other elements and create our own beats. It's just an example that makes a little bit more sense than the one that I did before. Okay, now to the sections I don't want to talk about. I will not show you, I won't show you sample, because that's how you sample from an external source. You can plug something into your PC and sample from that. You can do that, but it's not part of this tutorial. Resample is a little bit complicated as well. Fixed DC, I don't use this often. It's basically for setting the whole sample on closer to the middle line, to the 0 line. You don't need that in most cases. And filters, I don't use them as well. And yeah, that's more advanced stuff. I showed you everything what you need to know here except one thing, and that is loop. And I'm gonna show you what you can do with a loop function. Okay, for this I loaded another sample. Let's play it. It's a nice synth pad. It's very long. You don't have to care about memory at this time, but you know, long samples on the real Amiga, they take memory, so you want to save memory. The other thing you want to do a loop is you just want to have this sound for very long, because now here, this is like, and then it's over. So there's the option to loop. If you click loop on, you're gonna see 2 brackets here. That is the start bracket, that is the end bracket, and you can play around with that. Let's say we want to try to loop this part. I'm just setting this randomly. And it's gonna play forever now, all right? It's gonna play forever, so we could kill this because we don't need it. Zoom in here. And pixel perfect, cut the end. Oh, that worked very good. Let's do it again. It doesn't work at the moment, but I don't care. Zoom out. You have to click stop if you want to stop it. If you want to play around while playing, you just press your root key, the R key, and while it's playing, you can move these 2 brackets. For example, like this. I could cut off the rest here to save memory. You don't need to do that. But yeah, it can be done, just so you know. Now it worked, which is cool. Show all, and that would be a pad that never ends. So you can loop stuff. That's the loop function. You can turn it off, you can turn it on, and you can adjust this while playing around, because here it is the same like with the beginning and ends on 0 points. You know, if you want to do a really exact loop, you zoom in here, show range. You try to get a 0 point like this here. And for the last one, you're going to do the same. You're going to search a 0 point here on the 0 line. And you can cut the rest. All right. Show all, and now it's a loop that begins with a 0 and ends with a 0. So no clicking there. In some cases, you cannot find the 0 on the place the way you want it. What I do there is I pick like a height like this, and I remember that it was going up to this height, and then in the end, I'm looking for something that goes up as well, and the same height, or approximately the same height. That works as well. Another very easy option to get a sample fast in here is you take a WAV file. If you have samples on your hard drive, I'm going to show you where to get samples, but if you have some samples, you just drag and drop it. And remember, it's going to drop it on the sample ID that is mentioned here. So if you want to place it on sample 3, you have first to select 3 here and then drag and drop it. Let's do it. Now you can see this dialog. This is like just in the Protracker version for Windows. It recognizes that the sample frequency is above 22 kilohertz. Do you want to downsample it before loading? You click yes on high quality sample files. And now you have it on the letter R. That was one of the main reasons I used that so much. So it's the key F as seen here. And it's the letter R on the keyboard. You can see the sample then here. And you can now do everything that I've shown you. I don't want it to have it so long, so I'm going to cut it here. I want that it starts slow. I'm going to ramp it from 0 to 100 here. Let's listen how that sounds. And I want a loop here. You can see a pattern. You can see like there's a wave pattern. Wait, I'm going to show you what I mean. I mean this here. And I try to grab like a piece from here to the exact same height. You can try around until the click is gone. There's the click. It won't be fully gone, but this would be good. Cut the rest, and you have edited the sample a little bit. Okay, so just drag and drop into the Protracker. Let's do it for another sample. I want this in 2 because I don't want to overwrite my newly imported sample here. Let's go to my Explorer, take another sample, drop it. Yes, please convert it. And now we have that in here. And now we have 2 samples in here, this one and this one. If you want to rename it, just click here and name it, I don't know, Synth High, and this one, I don't know, lol. Okay. So now if you would save the samples to your disk, it would automatically use the sample name here. You can see it if you go to Save, Sample, and here it takes that file name. You could rename it to save it to another file name at this point. That's drag and dropping samples in here. It is very good for drums and all the stuff, but it can be a little bit out of place if you import, let's say, a synth like we did, like this one. Or better use this. Now you can go up to and that's it. You cannot go any higher. You can go a lot lower. But you cannot go higher. So it fixes it on the second octave. That's the octave we are always working on. I didn't talk about that until now. You don't need to know at the moment. So your R key, the root key, and then you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 notes up. If that is okay, in most cases, it is okay for me, you can use this simple method. If this is not okay, you have to go to something different. This is more advanced stuff. You don't need to do this in the tutorial. You can skip this part, but I want to show you because later on you might think, yeah, let's use that to be even more professional. You go to Google and search for Amiga PAL. Then you're going to see a site called GitHub. Everyone knows GitHub. If you don't know it, it's a legit site where you can find programming stuff, programming projects, and you can see Echo Level here. And he has a software called Amiga PAL. If you want to download that, you go to Releases here on the side, and then you download this zip file. You extract this zip file somewhere where you want, I have a portable folder from all my portable apps because you don't need to install this. Just unzip it and start it. And then you're going to be greeted with this nice thing here. So let's talk about this. Basic functionality of this is you drag and drop samples in this field. Let's do that with a bass. I'm just going to drop a bass sample, a sub bass sample, drop bass, a dubstep bass sample. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, and now the difference between this and the other one is you can say on which note it samples. Usually, if we go drag and drop with the Protracker, we sample to F3, which is the R key. So we can listen to this. I'm pressing Y on my keyboard because I have a German keyboard. It is Y or Z. Now you can hear that's how it would be imported to this note. So the quality is 80% high. You could go up to B3, that's the highest note. That's the best quality you can get. But you cannot play this note higher than the root key, than you imported it, you know? So you limit yourself to, this is the highest note that you can ever play with this sample, but it is the most quality one, which sound like that. Let's say we have a sample that we need to go up a lot in Protracker, not just that 5 or 6 steps that we can go up usually. So we don't sample to F3, which is usual. We sample to A2 or something. That's in the middle of it all. Then it's gonna sound not as good, but you can play it way higher. And on the root key is A2, which is here. It doesn't sound too good. For demonstration purposes, let's go to D2, which is very low. You can hear it loses quality, but you can play it very high. That's the main purpose of a MegaPal for this tutorial at the moment, because it does the work for you to set the right sample rate when you select the notes here. It does that automatically, so you can. The main thing here is you can set your base note, your root note of the sample, while in Protracker, if you drag and drop a sample into Protracker, you have it always fixed on the R key, which is a F2, a F3, which is here. So with this software, you can say the root key should be more down, so you can play higher, or you can go for the full quality here at B3, the highest note you can play in Protracker, and then you have the full sample quality. That's the main purpose of this software at the moment. I don't get into more details because I don't use a lot of it, but you can do more stuff maybe in a later tutorial, but for the moment this is a MegaPal. Great tool. Thank you so much Echo Level for this one. It's fucking awesome. Last thing I'm gonna show you to get samples in there or to get samples is you use an audio editor like Ocean Audio. I prefer that it is open source. It is there for every fucking operating system you're gonna use. So you're gonna go to download and you can freely download the Windows 64-bit version if you're on a modern Windows 10 system, and you can install it. A lot of people use the other one, how it's called, Audacity. I don't like it for various reasons. This is way better in my opinion, but you can try both. Audacity is used by Wasp Amiga in his tutorial as well. So let's take a look at Ocean Audio. There are several tutorials about Ocean Audio, so I'm just gonna touch it as well. When you open it up, it looks like this, and then you can, for ease of use, drag and drop in a song of your choice. Let's say you have a drum and bass song or something. Let me pick something. Let's drop this tune in here. Then you're gonna see it as a waveform. A little more detailed than in the tracker, but if you play it, here's the volume pot if you need to adjust the volume. Okay, let's say we want to rip a bass on the snare drum. Let's do that from some drum and bass song. I'm gonna mark some space here, and then I'm gonna click this button here to zoom in, and then let's find a good spot to sample. I have to listen to where the bass and the snare is like alone or kind of alone, and then I'm gonna cut them out there. Okay, we go to this part here. I'm gonna kill everything in front of it by marking it, pressing the lead key. Now it should play from the beginning. Okay, then I'm just gonna cut off all the other stuff to the end of the song. So the only things I have is this one here. So I could rip like the bass drum, the snare drum, and like this bass synth here, this little one. It's not even a bass, but it's a synth. You can mark a piece and listen to it. Okay, let's say this is the bass drum. It's not precisely cut out. You press Control C and you go to insert a new track, right mouse click here, and then you have a new file open, and that's now we're gonna make the bass drum out of it. Means zooming here in the beginning. Oops. So I can see I don't need this here. Bass drum is gonna start here. Oops. Wrong button. If you click the 1 on this zoom thing here, it's gonna jump to the original view. I think we don't need that. So we're gonna kill that. Play is space, like in most audio applications. And that would be a bass drum. We can right click here, and we could say save and go to somewhere you want, desktop, bd1.wave. That's the bass drum. Let's close this one. Let's grab the snare one. It's not a good example, but it's for the technique. So I mark it very rough. Control C, right click here, enter new track, paste a new track. Okay, I don't think we need the beginning here. Let's zoom in. Let's actually cut it at the 0 point. Delete to delete. The one thing here with the zoomy with the 1 is for seeing all the file. And we don't need that here. Let's just kill that. Delete on the keyboard. Now I'm gonna do the same thing that I did with the Protracker sample editor. I'm gonna do a fade out of this last part so it ends smoothly on the 0 line. You can do that. I got a German version, I'm sorry for that, but you can go to Effects. Then you go to this one. It's fade out. And it fades out. We could do the same for the beginning. Let's do it for this part here. Let's go to Effects, fade in. And we could save that. Oh, I did the edit. Where did I do the edit? I did it here. Okay. So we could save that. Save as. Snare drum 1. Save. Close it. And then we can rip this sample here. I don't do a new track for that. I just kill what I don't need. Okay, and we can save that by right-clicking, say Save As, and we call it, I don't know, on the desktop, I call it Synth. 1.wave, save. And now we ripped 3 elements of a song. It wasn't the best example, because I just picked it quick, but if you have cool songs where you know the drums sound good, and maybe you can listen to the song to check if there's maybe a part where the bass drum or the snare drum is alone for a second. It's very often the case. You can go there and can rip it exactly there. And from that on, you can just drag and drop these wave files that you saved here, which I saved on my desktop. You can drag and drop them into the Protracker. Okay, let's do that quickly. I'm just gonna drop the bass drum to sample 1. Yes. Let's go to sample 2. Let's load the snare drum there. Yes, import and convert. Let's go to sample 3 and let's load the synth there. Yes. So we have the samples that I loaded into, that I ripped in Ocean Audio and loaded into the tracker here. Let's go just for 174 BPM. Let's try some stuff with it. Let's add the synth just for demonstration purposes. The snare really sounds shit. Nothing special, just wanted to show you that you can import this stuff that you rip with Ocean Audio. I think that is a lot of stuff for today. And it's the basic of how to use samples. I leave it here because you can always go deeper. I'm gonna give you the link to Wasp Amiga's great sampling tutorial. You can check it in the description and you can check it there. And I wish you a very good day. I mean, you made it so far and that is really awesome. Really appreciate it. And if you have questions, leave it down in the comment section. I'm gonna answer that. If you want a video for about Ocean Audio or something else, which I should go more in details, leave it in the comments. I'm gonna do that. And as I said, I wish you a very good day. Bye.